Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Alignment Academy with Reema. And I'm so excited about today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking all about how to go from being burnt out, stressed out, overworked, unfulfilled to becoming your most juicy self, your most stress-free self, and having your most easeful lifestyle, because that's what women deserve. And before we even get into it, a little bit about who I am and what I do. So I help guide women who feel stuck, who feel unfulfilled, who feel burnt out and overworked, literally all the things I just named. I help guide them into living their most juicy, easeful lifestyles, because that's what women deserve. That's what we deserve. And we can live our best lives, and it doesn't have to be hard. How can we let it be easy? Literally ask yourself right now, how can I let things be easy? So a few days ago, I was at an event and there was a lot of women there, and women just started talking about their lifestyles a little bit and their jobs. And it was so heartbreaking to me because so many people express being burnt out and how they don't even know how they're going to get throughout the year. And when they wake up every day, they just feel this sense of dread. And it was like, wow, I really, really, really don't want this for us. I really don't want this for the girls, because there's a different way, and it's all internal shifts and things that we can start doing today to make an extremely impactful different, so that we don't have to live like that every single day. I feel like like a protector side was coming out. I was like, oh, I just want to shake them up a little bit and be like, girl, you don't have to live like this, which is where the inspiration for this video came from. And I even feel like since then, it's just been a theme. I seen someone today and they expressed burnout, and I had a conversation recently and we were talking about burnout and how so many people go through this, and how sometimes when you even go to, the leaders, let's say you're in a job, you have a position and you feel extremely burnt out, and sometimes you go to your manager oh, well, how do you deal with this? Or, what do you do to remain grounded and calm? A lot of times the managers are burnt out too, and so are their managers, and so are their managers. So it's where do you even get the information from if everyone around you is in a similar place? So let's get into it. Some tips to really help you shift things today, because it is so possible to live your most easeful life, your most juicy life. And honestly, I believe that when you are having fun, where you are in this state of ease and play, that's when your most aligned life can come through. You don't have to work hard to get what you want, and really even look at the root of where this is coming from. To me, this is a brainwashing that a lot of different generations, a lot of different cultures, even I live in America, even the American culture is very work hard to achieve things. And it's well, where did this come from? Who created this? Literally think about who created this, because it's not true. There's so many people who don't live like this and they're living their best lives. It is true. I mean, y'all know I am not stressing, period. I'm not available for it. So the first tip I feel like I already started getting into it. I said, and if you see me looking down, it's because I am reading notes. But the first tip I have is decide that you get to live a peaceful life. Make that decision. Decide that if there's some person in the world who gets to have their desires, who gets to have the money in the house and the family and etc., and not be all stressed out, decide that it gets to be you, because why not? There is no rule, no commandment, no whatever that says thou has to be stressed. It's literally, you can decide that you can choose differently. If this is something where you were raised, I know in my culture, Sometimes people say, oh, you got to work twice as hard just to be as good, just to be on an equal playing field. Decide that that gets to stop with you. Because I know for me, when I started reclaiming my time, when I started putting myself first and choosing my first and my wellness journey and etc., that's when I started making more money in less time, doing less things while putting myself first. So decide that it gets to be you. It's an energetic decision. Like, write it down daily. When you are stressed out or when you are triggered, catch yourself and maybe journal it out. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you do not journal, if you do not have a journal, it's been such a life-changing tool for me. I journal every single day, and if something's coming up and you feel discomfort in your body and you're like, is this stress, what is it, and you just want to get out of your head and get it on paper and release it from your body, just start journaling. And honestly, so much wisdom will come through, wisdom from your body, and it will honestly guide you more than anything in this world, because the best guidance is honestly from your true self. You know, I like to think of people, this is a funny analogy a little bit, but I like to think of people as an onion. So the core of the onion is the true you, like the inside circle of that onion. That's the true you. That is the wise you. That is the creative you. That is your truth. And so much wisdom comes from that place. The issue is, in society, we have so many layers of BS on top of that onion. So we have stress, we have trauma, we have issues, we have health issues, we have not enough sleep. Like, the layers are endless. We have circles around us that aren't serving us, jobs, etc. And then you create all these layers of guck on top of this core you, and then you don't really even get to have access to the you that is inside. So if you want a channel that helps you get closer to that, journaling is definitely one. And honestly, there's so many tools. Everything I talk about, they're honestly tools. And even in my courses, like, there are tools that help you get closer to the true self, who is your most wise self. So decide that you get to have a peaceful life. Decide that it gets to be you. And if it feels uncomfortable saying this, do an affirmation. I get to feel peace. Say that affirmation daily. Say it especially in the morning and especially at night, because that's when your subconscious mind is very open to hearing new things. Don't scroll on social media at those times. Repeat your affirmation. I get to feel safe. I get to feel safe. I get to feel safe. And if you want to, you can use voice notes or something to record it, and then you can just play it back to yourself. And if you hear it in your own voice, that's even better. So I get to feel, did I say safe or peaceful? I'm getting my own, I'm like, which one did I say? I get to feel safe and I get to feel peaceful. That is honestly a perfect one. So I get to feel peaceful. I get to feel peaceful. I get to feel peaceful. And then for the next step, I have boundaries. And I know I've been saying this so much from the mountaintop, but honestly, it's so important. And I keep running into people in my everyday life where I'm just like, wow, like, this foundational tool, this foundational way of being is just missing in so many people's lives. And it is so important to have on so many different layers. As an individual, you must have boundaries, or like, it's literally a form of protecting yourself and protecting your time and protecting your energy. And I go way deeper into the entire realm of boundaries in my boundaries masterclass. I talk about boundaries from a very practical standpoint. I talk about boundaries from the scientific standpoint, from the emotional standpoint, from the spiritual standpoint. So I really talk about it from all sides. And the thing that I love about my course is that I put all the power back into your hands, because today, when it comes to boundaries, there's a lot of conversation or a lot of tools or tactics saying that we need to have conversations with other people about our boundaries. Like, oh, if you're in a relationship and you don't like what they do, you need to tell them that this is your boundary, or you need to go to work and tell them that this is your boundary. But in my opinion, when you do that, you're giving them a lot of the power, because they can say no. And honestly, like, how many times do they say no? Or they just don't do it because it's not who they really are. So instead of giving other people your power when it comes to boundaries and expecting them to uphold your boundaries, how about you create boundaries with yourself that only you can uphold and only you can break? So that is one of the key ways I approach boundaries in my masterclass, and I feel like it is so impactful and so empowering to bring that self-sovereignty back to ourselves, especially when it comes to such a foundational thing such as boundaries. And the tip today that I want to do when it comes to boundaries are, I want you to create a list of things that you are not willing to engage in, and then a list of things you are willing to engage in. So literally on a piece of paper, put a straight line down the middle. On this side, right, I'm not willing to engage in workplace drama. I'm going to use work as an example right now, just because that has been coming up a lot around me. People talking about how burnt out they are at work, but I am not willing to engage in workplace drama, being burnt out at work, being drained at work, working extra hours, and literally make a whole list. And then on the other side, right, I am willing to engage in ease at work, balance, working out before work, meditating before work, journaling before work, after work, fully depugging to make sure you're not carrying that energy back from work into your home. And like literally write out as many things as you can think of. I know I only gave a few examples, but that's just so you can kind of get the gist of where I'm going. And honestly, I recommend doing this for every aspect of your life. Do it for work, do it for family, do it for friends, do it for in general, do it for health. I am not willing to eat stuff that makes me feel crazy, and then I'm willing to nourish my body, and then the only person that can break that is you. So if you do eat things that make you feel crazy, that's you breaking your own boundary, versus handing your boundaries over to somebody else. So yes, boundaries, so important. I mean, it's really like, it's such a foundational thing. And even when I talk about the scientific part of it in my course, there's cameras today that can capture like the energy boundary of certain things. I mean, I go way deeper into this in my course, but it's the natural way of being. Like naturally, everything that is alive on earth has boundaries. But I think at some point, I don't know what went wrong with today's society, but it's just been so distorted, and so many people are leaking energy, and it's really getting in the way of the true you coming out and the wise you coming out. So definitely check out that course. I'll link it below in the comments, and also in the caption as well. And then for the third point, I have feel good in your body. This probably sounds so simple, and you're probably like, oh, of course I feel good in my body. But you would be surprised how many people think they feel really good in their body, but there's actually a lot of stress and a lot of trauma held there. And I'm speaking from experience because I've also been through this as well. But feeling good in your body is so, so important, and it's so layered, because when it comes to stress, if you had stress living in your body for 40 years, you might feel safe with stress like living in your body. Like that might be your home base, as I call it. That might be your home base, to the point where if you do sit in peace for too long, you might feel uncomfortable. Your body is like, what is this change? What is this difference? Like, what's going on? Why am I so at peace in my body? And it's easier for you to revert back to living with stress and trauma in your body. And a lot of people go through this, and a lot of people are not aware or conscious that this is a thing. I'll even say with me, I feel like this is such a layered journey, but I think I started this journey of feeling better in my body probably in 2016-ish. And a part of me even thinks maybe before that, just because I was so active with doing like sports and stretching and gymnastics and stuff as a child, which is a huge release for the body. But in 2016, I started doing more mindful things like yoga and meditation, etc. But even recently, it's like more things have come up that wanted to be healed, you know? And when it comes to feeling good in your body, I even think of how like generational trauma and things are also passed down throughout the body. Like I think of what my parents went through. I think of what their parents went through. Oh my gosh, like my grandparents coming from the deep South, they had the craziest stories that were just so normal to them. And I'm like, this is some crazy stuff with just, like racism, things were just on a whole other level. And not saying things are perfect today. Of course, some parts of the world are just still, so many things going on. And at the same time, I'm in a position where I get to heal a lot of these things, a lot of the trauma, a lot of the darker parts that may have been stored in my body. And I feel like it is my divine duty to do that. Of course, I'm paying respect to the people that came before me by healing that, but I'm also paying the most respect to myself, because the safer you feel in your body, the safer you feel receiving, which means the more money you can make, which means the more aligned partners you're going to attract. I mean, it's so connected. And also, like, depending on how this resonates with you, like I highly recommend going to a therapist who deals with this type of topic, or even some type of like body worker or somatic practitioner who has an expertise with dealing with trauma in the body. Like, definitely go to the experts. But when it comes to burnout, like, give yourself a little bit of space to see if you can even like start getting to the root of it. Like, is this yours to carry? Or do you think that stress might live in your body from a previous experience in your life, or something traumatic that happened in your life? Because I feel like that's what it was for me. And I also wrote dropping down from the mind to the body, because when we are in these states of burnout, or, just living in a very stressful state within your body, where a lot of the times we're in our head a lot, because that's just like the head is there to keep you safe and for survival. But in what ways can you drop down to your body? And this is a tactic I got off of Instagram from like a child, that Instagram where the child's talking, and I don't know how to describe it, but the child said, oh, when I'm stressed, I do the elevator. And he breathes up the elevator and then drops down into his body. And I'm like, oh, that is so, that's what I do. I just never called it the elevator, but I love that name because it's so catchy. And using that tactic, the elevator tactic, to drop down into your body and drop down into your heart has the capacity to heal so much. So drop down into your heart and drop down into your body, because honestly, it will help you start feeling more peaceful in your body slowly, and it's like the longer you can stay there, it grows and it grows and it grows. So definitely do that as well. And yeah, I'm trying to see if anything is coming up for me. I don't think it is, but if anyone out there is really really burnt out. My books are also open again. I'm working with clients one-on-one. So definitely reach out to the email or coaching with Reema@gmail.com, and I can really help guide you through this state of burnout so you can live your most juicy life that you deserve, that's waiting for you to just unlock that door. So I hope this reaches whoever needs it, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Bye.